Hi there. So a lot of us already know that alcohol is a depressant, and that's because it binds to the GABA receptor and it causes an activation of these inhibitory pathways, which predispose us to low mood and anxiety. So as you are on your journey with Curb and you're curbing your use of alcohol, you're actually probably noticing that your mood is improving over the course of the weeks and the months as they go by, and that you're feeling a bit less anxious. And there's all sorts of other health benefits you might be enjoying and benefiting from. What we're going to do just now is a brain training exercise to help you along the way and speed up that process even more. And that brain training exercise is called gratitude practice. So what is gratitude practice and how does it work? I want you to think of your mind as a muscle and imagine that you can train your brain like your biceps. So when we're feeling really low in mood, we tend to think negative thoughts automatically, and we become conditioned to think in these patterns. And to break those patterns, we sometimes need to be much more conscious and I guess more intentional about the thoughts that we have. In practicing these new ways of thinking, we actually rewire our brain. This is an exercise where I'm going to ask you to, in a very intentional, conscious way, see if you can focus your attention onto elements of your life which you feel grateful for, so that you can notice the good things which are happening more easily. And initially, this is something which it might take a little bit of effort. It might not be something that comes automatically to you. But the more you do this, the easier it becomes. And again, remembering that your mind is like a muscle and that you can train your brain like your biceps. Okay, so in this gratitude practice exercise, I'm going to ask you to do three things. The first thing that I'm going to ask you to do is just see if you can notice or bring your attention to three good things that have happened either today or yesterday. Now, the second thing, I want you to go through each of those events. Now, think about the details of that good thing that happened. And I want you to really explore and pay attention to who was there, why did the good thing happen, where did it take place, and how did it make you feel? And then I'm going to ask you to write it down. And then having written it down, I want you to then use this as a tool during moments where the world just feels a bit rubbish and you're feeling a bit down and low in mood, and come back to these kind of moments where you've consciously recognized something positive, something that you feel grateful for. So I'm going to give you a couple of small examples that are personal to me that happened earlier on today. So on my way here today, it was raining quite heavily. But just as I was about to leave the house, the rain actually stopped, and it stopped just long enough for me to get on the bus, essentially. And it's a really small thing, but because I was consciously looking for the positives today, I was looking for something that I could feel grateful for, I noticed it. And because I noticed that small positive, the fact that there was this brief reprise from the rain that allowed me to get on the bus and not get absolutely soaked, it actually made me feel differently and think differently. And so by consciously looking for those positives and searching for them, it changes the way that you think and feel. The other small positive thing that I noticed as well was when I was coming into the building, somebody held the door open for me. And again, I think it's very easy when you're feeling kind of low in mood and a bit down to overlook these very small positives and to be overwhelmed by negative emotions. But this is an exercise where we're actually getting you to almost look at, it's like a treasure hunt. You're doing a treasure hunt to try and notice these small positives, or maybe big positives. That'd be great as well. But even noticing the small positives is worthwhile, because noticing these small positives, like somebody holding the door open for you, can change the way that you think and feel. So in that example, I felt really grateful this person had opened the door for me, held the door open for me. It made me feel valued. It made me feel seen, and that kind of boosted my self-esteem, and it gave me a bit of a spring in my step, and then I guess as a result, I was probably an easier person to be around for the rest of the day. Again, sometimes these things can be self-perpetuating. So there's a real value, I think, in doing these types of brain training exercises. They are also based in science because changing the way that we think changes the way that we feel, and it changes the way that we behave in the world around us. And then we end up with this massive net gain positive, even from these very small cumulative positives that we notice. So in summary, remember that your mind is like a muscle and that you can train your brain just like you would train your biceps. And that sometimes it takes a bit of conscious cognitive effort, but you can bring the focus of your attention to small positives, even if they seem tiny. But in doing this, you're helping yourself to think differently, to feel differently, and behave differently in the world around you. So my challenge to you is to think about 3 things that have made you feel good today, 3 good things that have happened. And then explore those 3 things in turn. Why did they happen? Who was there? How did it make you feel? And then write it down, and you keep this as a tool to come back to on days that feel more difficult and that maybe don't feel so great, as a reminder that the world isn't so bad.